From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And you guys already know what time it is. It is time for us to start this shizzo. And Kyrie has requested a trade from the Nets. Where does he land? And if he is moved before the deadline, because you got to remember, it's only so many days before the NBA deadline kicks in. You know what I mean? Because, usually I used to remember it being after All-Star break, but now I guess they just trying to get it all the way out the way now. But Kyrie has made news again on wanting to leave his prospective team. It's different this time around, though. He's on his way to having an expiring contract. And I think we did this last time with him as well, too. Nobody had to trade anybody to the Nets. He just went to the Nets, So this is kind of like right on time because Kyrie already wanted to leave the team as is, and they were already exploring a trade for Kyrie, but then they realized that if they got rid of Kyrie, then they weren't going to be able to really have a good team. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So they have pretty much ran their course with each other. This is something that never worked. He was able to get KD interested in coming to the Nets as well, too. The whole Brooklyn movement thing that they were trying to do, all that good stuff, but it just wound up not working out the way that you wanted it to. Kyrie Irving, he still has a bad taste in his mouth from the organization not having his back, suspending him as well, too, because you have to remember the NBA did not suspend Kyrie Irving. He got suspended by his team. You know what I mean? So there was just a lot of things that never got fixed with this situation. And I think Kyrie knows that the writing's on the wall, and I think he really truly feels that this team is not going to be competing for the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? Because I know that a lot of people were going to say, oh, they were going to be the perennial favorite if KD came back and da-da. Look, there's a lot of other things that they need to make this team a real official contender compared to what's going on in Boston and what's going on in Milwaukee. So Kyrie really does need to move on. I wish it would have been a little bit earlier in the season. And then when you look at the options kind of wear thin because there's a lot of teams in the NBA right now playing it cheap. They don't want to take on any big money or anything like that. You give up assets, things of that nature. So you're not going to have him be sent to a young building team. What you want to do is you want to send him to a team that is in contention because you can get back a trade that is worth the market value in a sense, because the market value is really intense. This is really like a lot of players being moved around, and a lot of people have to understand there's other players that are unhappy with their teams too, but they just don't come out into the media. So my feeling is that we're going to have a multiple team trade with about 4 or 5 teams with Kyrie involved. Whomever the Lakers are going to throw into whoever the Lakers are planning on getting rid of, even though it's most likely going to probably be Russell Westbrook, even though I feel like at this time it's stupid to get rid of a guy like Russ who's actually finally found his way and found his comfort zone with this team. And now the Lakers are starting to win basketball games as well, too. And as you saw last night, they played great defense at the end of that game. And that's exactly what Russ is needed for, is his defense. So there's a lot of questions in that. But it's so fresh and so new, but I think that we will be on our way to having somewhat of a idea where he's gonna go by the end of the weekend. I would say that if we had a 4-team trade, from how I'm seeing it right now, is that you can have the Nets, the Lakers, the Jazz, who are already talking about who we're talking about talking with the Lakers anyway, possibly say the Heat, and maybe, just maybe, you might throw the Dallas Mavericks in there as well too. But I think that there's going to just be I think that they're just going to open up the lines this weekend, and they're just going to make very significant trades with multiple teams, in my opinion. I think that it's going to be a big shape shift in the NBA as well too. If Kyrie comes west and you have Russ go east, this will be pretty fun because you know that they're going to try to sell a Brooklyn Lakers championship. So it's just a lot right now. It's something that we'll have some answers to it by either the end of the weekend or the top of the week. So we'll see how it goes. Kyrie, though, is on his way out of Brooklyn, possibly. There is no guarantee he's leaving Brooklyn, though, at this point. It's just that he asked for a trade, but he did also say that if the trade can't happen, he'll move forward and he'll play with the team and, figure out what they can do moving forward. But if anything, he's headed towards free agency this summer. So there it is. There it is. Let's go ahead and hop into our college basketball top games for Saturday. We got 5 games between top 25 teams. I'm reviewing 3 of them right now. 2 of them are in the same conference as well, too. I didn't try to do that on purpose. The Big 12 is just that good. You got to understand that the Big 12 has 6 teams ranked in the top 17. So it is what it is at the end of the day. They have a lot going for themselves. Now, up first, we have the number 1 team in the nation in Purdue going against the number 21 team in the nation in Indiana. Indiana's fresh off of a loss this week as well, too. Very close game at Maryland, but it kind of did get a little out of hand there at the end. But Indiana was fighting. They got the game within 2, but were unable to win that game. Purdue got another really good win the other night at home. They were able to win that game by 20 points. They've been absolutely dominant in their last few games as well, too. They've been able to get the big wins that a lot of people didn't see coming as well in the conference versus some of the top tier teams of the conference or the traditional teams of the Big Ten. So Purdue's actually playing some of their best basketball right now, but now we're in February, and this is where it gets really tough for top teams, is in February, is where you have it to where your schedule starts getting a little bit more difficult, and you start going against teams that are very, very desperate to win because they're trying to get into the tournament. Purdue, on the other hand, could lose the rest of their games for the rest of the season and still be in the tournament. I promise you that. You know what I mean? They could lose all February and still be in this tournament. They're 22-1. Okay. So to me, they've already went ahead and established themselves at least as an 8 seed this year. So, Purdue wants to keep the number 1 status. That's for motivation week in, week out. But doesn't matter. Not really. They just want to get into this tournament because being ranked nowadays is not the same as it was 20 years ago. You know what I mean? It's not as big of a deal as it used to be because you can be the number 1 ranked team in the nation, then get absolutely shellacked by the worst team in your conference by 20. So, that's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's a lot of teams out there in college basketball, and these are the 25 they think that are the best available when it comes to any given night. And really it's all a point system anyway. So Purdue is right on the money. They've had some really good wins, and we all know they have an undefeated non-conference record that has a slew of teams that were ranked as well too, or ranked now. So it is what it is, but it's always going to be tough because they are going against their interstate rival, Indiana. Indiana is led by Jackson, Big Trey, and they are looking to get a big upset here. There's this line is going to probably favor the Hoosiers coming into the game, but it's going to be pretty much a pick 'em as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Purdue, Indiana in the Battle of Indiana. Always a good game here. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll move forward from there. All right. So we have ourselves Kansas at Iowa State. And this one is going to be a very, very strategic game, in my opinion. You have Kansas, who's lost their last 3 out of 4, but they got themselves a resounding win the other night as well, too. But the thing is, I say to myself that, Kansas is in a game that they truly do need to win because they want to still be, in the top seedings because right now Texas is the number 1 team in the clubhouse. Iowa State 6-3 as well too. And this battle is for a sole place of second place. You know what I mean? Even though you still have Kansas State and TCU playing this weekend as well too. But man, you look at this and you got 15 teams. You got 6 teams in the top 15. This is incredible. And then you had West Virginia, who was ranked for a moment there. Texas Tech was ranked for a moment there as well, too. So, yeah, 8 teams ranked this season. Only Oklahoma and Oklahoma State have kind of went through the meat grinder a little bit this year. And when you look at the way that the way that the 6 are in this group, they're only so many games apart. You got Baylor, who's 5-4, and then you got 4 teams that are 6-3 behind Texas is 7-2. So Kansas comes in here looking to complete the sweep on Iowa State. They beat Iowa State in Lawrence by 2 because Iowa State was up most of that game, and Kansas figured out a way to win that game. So they come back. They winners of their last 2 in a row after that 3-game losing streak. And they know that this one right here is a game that there can't be a letdown here because they're going to Texas Monday for the biggest game of the week. So I truly do feel that Kansas is probably going to come into this game and shock the system a little bit because I know a lot of people are going to be all over Iowa State. I like Iowa State going in as well, too, but I know that Kansas is going to step up to the plate here. So this is going to be a great game, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so now we have ourselves our next game up, Texas and K-State. And as I said before, Texas is the number 1 team in the conference as well right now at 7-2. K-State was the number 1 team in the conference, but they just came off a recent loss. So K-State is looking to right some wrongs. They just lost to Kansas on Tuesday night. They wound up losing that game by 12 points as well. They got a really good win against Florida, though. But they've dropped their last 2 out of 3. But come on, Iowa State, no slouch. That was a tough game. And then they played Kansas. So they have lost their last 2 conference games. But they were number 1 in the conference for a while. They were 6-1 just last week. Now they've dropped their last 2, so they're 6-3. So they're looking to get this thing right. They're looking to get some get back. And we all know that Kansas State already beat Texas as well, too, this year. They had a really good game with Texas earlier this year, and they actually beat Texas at Moody, and they scored 116 points. So this team is capable of scoring a lot of points, but they're also capable of giving up a lot of points. So this one right here really kind of sticks out to me because you have 2 teams that you really didn't expect to be in the top 10. Well, at least not Kansas State, and they're sitting right here, sitting pretty. And this should be the game of the weekend because I really feel like this game comes down to who wants it more. And I know K-State's going to come in here really cocky because they dropped 116 on Texas previously. So this game is probably the best game of the weekend in college basketball. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it shakes out. But with that, I like in this spot, I think I lean towards Texas, because when you give up 116 points, the next time you see a team, you're trying your best to only give up 40 points. So you know how it goes. It is what it is. So pretty much with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers and the NBA. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's get this thing started with the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers over here feeling pretty good about themselves. They got another win last night. Now they are 25-28. They're getting closer and closer to getting into this playing spot. Teams are starting to kind of fall off a little bit here in the NBA. We have a New Orleans team that they're playing tomorrow night. And New Orleans has really fallen apart since losing the great Zion. Zion is out for a significant period of time. And they haven't just been good at all lately. This team was 26-15. Right now they're 26-26. So that means that they've lost literally 11 games. They've literally lost ground. Like, they're 23-15. I think they're like 3-11 since. So they're not playing great basketball right now. It's just that simple. And then to top it off, it really doesn't work out well for them, because they had a game canceled this week as well too. So, when does it get better? That's the question if you're the Pelicans. You know what I mean? So the Lakers last night were absolutely tremendous in that game. They really could have just threw in the towel like they did in certain other games, but they decided not to do that last night. They decided to go in there and win that game last night. And that was beautiful to watch, because the Lakers just, at the end of the day, the Lakers could be so much further ahead. But they had a great month last month. They wound up winning 9 games last month, okay? And they wound up only losing 7. So that was probably their best month all year, but the team is 25-28. That's a lot coming from being 2-10. So the Lakers have won their last 2 in a row, and this is after dropping 2 in a row. So this is good to make up ground. The Lakers look to finish up the road trip on the winning note, winning 3 out of 5. But, like I said before, the Lakers could have swept this thing, but things happen. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work out sometimes. So I think the Lakers really, truly are in place right now to go exactly where they need to go. We all have playoff expectations, and I think that's exactly where the Lakers are headed, because right after this All-Star break, I think that they're going to pick it up a few notches. And then when I keep looking at the schedule, I keep telling myself February is a real good month to the schedule. Only games you look at and say, okay, they'll have some issues. Milwaukee, Golden State, Dallas, and Memphis. Everybody else, those are winnable games, very winnable games, in my opinion. And even though the most of the month is going to be on the road, they got 10 games, 6 of those will be on the road. So that's something that they do have to nip in the butt, getting those road wins. Then next month they come back around and they're back at Staples 10 times next month in 15 out of the 15 games that they're playing. And then they finish up the season. They only have 2 games in April at Staples. So they got 12 home games left. All right. They got 12 home games plus the 4. They got 16 home games left. So the Lakers, those games to me are they're probably going to win about 90% of those games, but they need to win on the road. And that's the key part to me. So these road trips after the Oklahoma City, Milwaukee homestand games, they're going to be critical. You got Golden State and Portland, then you're back at home, and then you finish up the month with Dallas and Memphis. Those 4 games right there are crucial. Well, really, these 5 games. And the Lakers, to me, need to finish 500 this month. They need to be no less than 5-5 this month to keep themselves in the group. Even though they still be 3 games behind 500, it still makes up for great momentum going into March. I just know that this is going to be a month that really goes by fast because it's the All-Star break. They get a break, and, they can rejuvenate themselves. So hopefully nobody gets hurt and everything goes according to plan. Now, LeBron is 63 points away from breaking Kareem's record. That's why Kareem's up here on the cover. And I think that a lot of us have to understand that this is a great historical moment that we're all witnessing. It was a great historical moment when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it. I know a lot of people have been trying to kind of write it off because Kareem wasn't the most popular guy in the league. He wasn't somebody who was seen as the GOAT. They didn't call him the GOAT, even though many who know basketball called him the GOAT. But he's not the media's favorite. So that's why they're not trying to acknowledge it as much as it would have been if it was, say, Michael Jordan. That would make it just so much like, the talk of the week. But the funniest thing about it is, it seems like a lot of LeBron haters and Jordan enthusiasts, I'm not trying to stir the pot or say anything, but it seems like Jordan enthusiasts are very, very adamant about ensuring that he's the GOAT. Okay, we get it. He's the GOAT for you, but you're not going to tell some kid who was born in 2002 that Michael Jordan's the GOAT. He never saw Michael Jordan play. I'm talking about Michael Jordan who won championships, not the old man that was playing in Washington to help a team sell tickets. Okay. I truly do feel that the Jordan obsession is getting a little bit out of hand because right now it's not about Michael Jordan. It's not about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's about LeBron James making history and breaking this record. LeBron James is a kid from Akron who had little to no chance of really making anything out of his life if he wasn't that great of a basketball player, okay? And he might have the greatest sports story ever told. At one point, just let him have his moment. You know what I mean? Because I always feel like they want to interrupt this moment by bringing up Kobe or bringing up Jordan or bringing up somebody that's just from 20 years ago, from 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And I understand the love that people have for these great players. I love them just the same way as they do. But I'm realistic as well, too, as a fan of basketball. And what we're watching right here with LeBron is historic stuff. LeBron, you've never seen a player do what LeBron has done in this day and age, okay? It's just that simple. LeBron is literally a leader in all categories. The only player that can say that he really dominated the game stat-wise the same way is Wilt Chamberlain. That's who you really put LeBron next to because, as I said, since LeBron was about 20 years old, he's never going to be people's favorite because everything's too perfect for him. And he's going to always be this generation's version of Wilt. You know what I mean? He didn't have a Bill Russell. But if you say who Bill Russell truly could be in this era, it might be Steph Curry. You know what I mean? But he's not winning as much as Bill Russell. So don't take it, don't go crazy about it. But the man has won 4 championships, 3 of them on LeBron's back. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I just want people to understand that you have to let bygones be bygones. You can't sit here and just keep bringing up this person's history when we know that this guy's about to make history. It's almost like you want to make sure that his name doesn't die. Like you're pretty much feeling like the Jordan legacy is going to just poof disappear. It's never going to disappear. It's never not going to be talked about. But at this moment right now, let's just get out of memory lane and appreciate what's going on in front of us in the present. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So there it is. There it is. That's the state of the Lakers right there. And we move forward from there. All right. So the Lakers are back at it tomorrow, as I said before, 3 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN2 and on my favorite network, Spectrum. You know what I mean? Because if you're a real Laker fan living in LA, you watch the Lakers on Spectrum. You don't watch the Lake. And if the game isn't on Spectrum, that's when you deal with TNT and ESPN. But most times the game is never exclusive to ESPN unless it's the playoffs. But TNT, that's a different animal. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And we move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, and that's going to be NBA Friday night. We got 8 games in the association tonight, all very good ones. A lot of these teams have already played each other this season as well, too. It seems like I got nothing but East and West matchups here with our group of 5. So that's unique. That's fun. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We have up first the Blazers and the Wizards. The Blazers and the Wizards is going to be – this should be a pretty good matchup. This is between a team that's 25 and 26 chasing a playoff spot, and the Wizards are chasing a playoff spot as well too. Now, when you look at these teams coming into the game, the Blazers have not been as good as they were to start the season. And I know that's kind of like a broken record with me. I always say this about them, but I'm looking at what they did last month. They had a point where they had a 5-game losing streak and a 3-game losing streak. So that pretty much was their month, losing. So they wound up finishing up last month 5-9. So, they're trying to bounce back. They've already won a game with a big win over Memphis Wednesday night. They beat them by 10. So coming into this game, they're looking to keep the good times rolling and keep themselves in this playoff race. They're right ahead of the Lakers right now in the 11th spot. And they know that with a win tonight, they could actually jump the New Orleans Pelicans tonight and actually find themselves tied up with the Warriors as well, too. So this is a pretty big game for them tonight. Now, the Wizards, on the other hand, are the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're actually ahead of Chicago right now and Indiana. So they're looking to kind of catch up with Atlanta, but they're still wide open in their division as well, too. So, this is a big game for both these teams, and they literally are like carbon copies of each other, in my opinion, to keep it real with you. You know what I mean? They both have a star, with the Blazers having Dame and the Wizards having Bill. So, you got stars here. You got good supporting players as well, too. Good cast members to go around this star. And so pretty much you come up with a really good game tonight that I think comes down to the Blazers just outworking the Wizards tonight. I like the Blazers tonight with the plus 135 as our NBA dog of the day. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Blazers at the Wizards. All right, let's move forward and let's jump into the Celtics and the Suns tonight. This game is going to be in Boston as well, too. You have the Suns coming in here 27 and 26. You have the Celtics 37 and 15. The Celtics are a 9.5 point favorite tonight. The over-under is 220.5. This should be a game that presents a very fun options for you tonight, because you have a low over-under that you might chase because you feel like with this new NBA where you get damn near 230 every night from totals and teams, that this is now the new 200 in a sense. You know what I mean? I haven't seen a 200 over under all season long. You used to see those at least once or twice a week, especially when the Memphis Grizzlies were not the greatest offensive team. So, you have the Suns coming in here 27-26, as I said. Boston's absolutely rolling right now. Best record in basketball as we speak, but they're only 2 games ahead of Milwaukee as well, too. But I still think that this game winds up becoming a very, very strategic game. And I think that, you can't sleep on the Suns tonight. The Suns are coming off of a game where they were damn near down 50 points at one point the other night. So they can't wait to get back on the basketball court and prove that they got some skills to this. They're not a great road team though, so that's the biggest issue that you have. Boston, one of the best home teams in the league, but I still think that when we run into these scenarios, especially with Boston being a highly favored favorite tonight. And their issues that they've had with the West, especially in home games, I do like the Suns tonight with the +10. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we got ourselves the next game up, which is going to be the Magic and the Wolves, and they face off again. And you got this Magic team that's playing a lot better basketball than anybody expected. Yeah, they're 20-32, but they absolutely bring it every night. You look at their against the spread record, and you say, you know what, this team ain't that far away. You know what I mean? And they got guys that really like being there right now. Before, you didn't have guys that liked being there, in my opinion. So, when you look at what's going on here, you got a team in Orlando 29-22. Okay, 29-22-1 to be exact against the spread. But they're 20-32. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of their games are very, very close. So, going against this Minnesota team tonight that kind of always has some issues with their spread situation, and they have issues with young teams just like themselves as well too. But that shouldn't really mean much tonight because Minnesota is actually playing their best basketball as well too at this moment. As we keep saying, they're 26-28 against the spread, but that doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion. You know what I mean? This team is still a really, really, is the spread doesn't say anything about how good they are at home. They're 16-14, but they're a good home team. You know what I mean? And this is going to be a very, very fun game tonight. I don't know where we're going on who the winner is going to be because Orlando could upset these guys or Orlando could wind up getting blown out. But I know one thing, though, is Orlando is notorious at getting a lot of games under this year. So I think I'm going to go with those numbers tonight again because Orlando is just a team that it seems like they're the only team that if they have a bad night, they're not going to score 100 points. So right now, they actually are a team that's went over in 26 of their 52 games. So, they have 2 pushes as well. So I just got to reiterate that as well. So they've went over 52 times in their games. You got Minnesota, on the other hand, that has went over 44% of the time in their games. They're more of an under team. So I feel like tonight there's going to be some defense played here, even though Gobert is probably not going to go. So I'm taking the under 229.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. All right. Now, this isn't hard for me at all. This next game coming up, it's really not because this is the Spurs and the 76ers. And the Spurs and 76ers both are 2 teams going in opposite directions. You have a 76ers team that's sitting pretty as the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. You have the Spurs who are sitting at the last seed, the bottom of the Western Conference. This is crazy with Greg Popovich as your coach that you're at the bottom of the Western Conference. So There is over under a 234.5. We don't have to be long here because there's not much to talk about when it comes to the Spurs. And you already know what the Philadelphia 76ers do and been doing. They go out there and they absolutely annihilate bad teams. They did have a little bit of a hiccup the other night, though. They did lose to Orlando, but we gave you Orlando with the plus points the other night. We told you what was going to happen in that game. So tonight, we know the Spurs don't play any defense, and this is a game where, I feel like the 76ers want to get some stats in. So the over 234.5 is very doable. You know what I mean? And let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Spurs, 76ers should be a good one for bettors that really like Philly tonight. I think Philly does win this game by 20 or better and then wind up scoring the threshold that's been the threshold on the Spurs, like 135, 140. I've seen these guys give up 140 in like 15 games this year. So you can't trust the team on the defensive end anymore like you could 5 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But most definitely, we're taking the over 234.5 in this spot. Well, I'm taking the 234.5 in this spot. I shouldn't be speaking for other people. You know what I mean? But if you rock with me on a daily basis and you say, Pop, you the man, you the leader, you the one that gets us moving forward, then it's us. It's we. All right. But if you one of the people like, I don't know, then, cash your own damn ticket then. So it is what it is. All right, so we move forward to our final game in the group. That's going to be the Hawks and the Jazz, and this one is going to be a fun one tonight as well, too. You have the Hawks coming in here at 26-26. They're number 2 in their division right now. You also have the Jazz 27-26. The Jazz find themselves still in the playoff hunt as well, too. They are in the playoff section of the playoffs, but as I said before, they might be a little discouraged tonight because there are talks of trades and things like that that's involving their team as well. So tonight will be a little different, but it's still Friday night in Salt Lake City. Always a good little event night. Always a good little night for Salt Lake City residents to go out. Well, Utah residents in general. For them to go out downtown, go watch the Jazz play, go get some good dinner afterwards. This is a part of the weekend. You know what I mean? So, they always like to entertain. They always like to get a big win in front of their home crowd, we already know this is one of the toughest places to win at in basketball. And the way that the Hawks played the other night, they're going to be an overbet because they absolutely crushed the Phoenix Suns. So tonight, most likely they're a team that will probably, as we would say on the track at the racetrack, they're probably going to bounce tonight, meaning that you win a race big time the last time out, you come back in here and you absolutely run like dog-ish. So we're going to go ahead and take the Jazz tonight with the slim money line. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to jump into talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing. With daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into our final little group here, and pretty much it's time for talking tickets. And talking tickets is always one of my favorite things to do, things to talk about, because I love talking them tickets. You know what I mean? So pretty much it is what it is. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We have ourselves up first, the CBB PrimeTime PK6. CBB PrimeTime PK6 consists of a 75 to 1 ticket tonight. That 75 to 1 ticket should be one that it gets us. Um, it's some good. It looks good, man. That's all I can say is that it looks really good. And as you guys can see, we got Columbia here tonight. We got with the plus 14 Ivy League, so that should be a lot of fun tonight. They are in a kind of a tough spot, but I think that we're good here. We're really good here because I think a lot of people have to understand that Penn is not a team that you really give 14 points to. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But I like Columbia tonight with the plus 14. Then we got Princeton in their game. Princeton is to me probably the best team in the Ivy League. But I know this is a tough matchup for them today. Pretty much because they have a lot going on their side as well too. So I truly do feel like Princeton tonight can go ahead and get us a win here because they're giving us great value. We got them at home as well too. So this should be a lot of fun in all seriousness. So I look forward to it. I think that this should be one of our better games of the day. And Princeton and Cornell, Cornell's playing great basketball this year as well too. And pretty much it's a pick 'em. You can go Cornell, you can go Princeton, but I think Princeton's just going to be too much for them today. It's going to be a little bit of pressure on the boys from Cornell. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We got Quinnipiac with the minus 4.5. I think Quinnipiac is going to be very, very good today. They are at home as well too. I know we ran into a little bit of trouble with them last time, but not tonight. I think that they handle Fairfield very, very easily. They want to keep the good times rolling as well too. They have the best record overall in the conference, but they are fourth because they're 7-4. So they want to improve upon that as well too. So I do like Quinnipiac in their game tonight. And then we got St. Peter's. St. Peter's 9-12 right now, but still a team that looms the danger when we do get into their tournament. But they did lose 5 in a row, but they've won their last 2 out of 3, including beating Mount St. Mary's last time out by 11. So they've had a week off. I think that they are getting a little bit more confident, but you do have a Rider team that is playing some of their best basketball right now as well too. Rider has won 5 games in a row and previously had dropped 4. I had previously dropped three in a row and 4 out of 5 pretty much before going on this nice little run. And they were able to beat Iona, Niagara, Manhattan, and blew out Marist, and also just beat Fairfield as well too. But 3 of their wins were decided by 3 points or less. So this team truly does know how to get those grit and grind games in, as I like to say. So Ryder, St. Peter's tonight, I really do like St. Peter's to cover. I don't know if they win, but I do feel like they do cover this game tonight. And then we have Kent State in the battle of I would say, what is it, Clark County? Stark County. The battle of Stark County. I know my mother who went to Kent State, and it was funny when we were in Ohio, we went right past that university as well, too. It was right there by Belden Village. Well, part of the university, because I think they got 2 different campuses there. And then you got Akron, good old Akron, home of LeBron James. And you know that if LeBron really went to college and things like that, and everything kind of fell apart for him, say like if he would have gotten some trouble or something like that in high school, couldn't go to the NBA, had to go to college, Akron would have gave him the keys to the dean's office. Like literally, like he could have lived like wherever the chancellor lives at, that would have been LeBron's house. So that's how much he's loved at Akron University, and he's given them a lot of money as well too. So Kent State is minus 120 tonight. I like them in one of the more intense rivalry games in the MAC conference as well, too. And then we got Boise State tonight with the upset special. In my opinion, they're going against San Diego State at the Vijas Center. You know, it was originally the Cox Arena. And I remember that because I visited San Diego State when I was looking for a college as a kid. And I always get mad at myself because I really wanted to go there, but my grades wasn't all the way up to tune. And then once you get to college and start living your regular life, you kind of just be straight off of that. But Boise State, I just feel like they're going to be sneaky tonight. They're going to get themselves a good win over this San Diego State team that's really inconsistent, in my opinion. So usually when I don't take San Diego State, they figure out a way to beat me. And when I do take them, they do beat me. So, you know, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So literally you might want to just take San Diego State tonight. All right. You know what I mean? Even though the value is with Boise State, who seems to keep getting some good wins here, sneakily in the Mountain West. So there it is. There it is. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the NBA Super High Five. As I said previously, we got the Blazers money line plus 135. We got the Suns plus 10 tonight. We got the under 229.5 with the Magic and the Wolves, the over 234 with the 76ers and the Spurs, and then we wrap it up with the Jazz money line at minus 105. So there it is. There it is. 28-1 on that ticket tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. NBA Super High Five, 28-1. And I feel good about that one. So pretty much there we are. And there it is. And you guys know you're the absolute best. There is no me without you. As I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. Keep this movement moving. You know what it is. And then also, man, just know that you guys have been helping me get through some really, really rough times, man, over here the last few months and everything like that. And I truly do appreciate you guys still being so adamant about, you know, the plays on the show, my opinion and things like that. And it's only going to get better. You know, that's all I can say. And I'm just doing this because next week, most likely I won't be doing any shows except for probably Mike's show on Thursday, but I will try to get you guys talking ticket segments why I'm over at the Super Bowl Media Week, because that's where I'm going to be at all week next week, covering the Super Bowl in the beautiful city of Phoenix, Arizona. So you guys be on the lookout for that. There's going to be a lot of content going with that as well too, but it's hard to do a show and do all those interviews and do all that Super Bowl media stuff all at the same time. So if I'm able to do some shows, they'll probably be either very early in the morning or either later on in the nighttime. So, you know, I'll keep you guys posted on that, but be on the lookout for talking tickets. That should be something that we definitely have in the accord. So with that, I thank you guys so much. You guys are the absolute best once again. And there it is, man. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and I'll be right back at you very, very soon. Maybe not next week, but I'll be definitely back with you in the next 2 weeks. So there it is. There it is. So with that, I bid adieu, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.